صحبه أفضل الصلاة وأزكى التسليم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري وأحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Continue inshallah with the verses of Surah Al-An'am. Yesterday we stopped at verse 24. Today inshallah we'll start with verse 25 where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ومنهم من يستمع إليك وجعلنا على قلوبهم أكنة أن يفقهوه وفي آذانهم وقرا وإن يروا كل آية لا يؤمنوا بها حتى إذا جاءوك يجادلونك يقول الذين كفروا إن هذا إلا أساطير الأولين. There are some of them who pretend to listen to your recitation, but we have cast veils over their hearts, leaving them unable to comprehend it, and deafness in their ears. Even if they were to see every sign, they will still not believe in it. The disbelievers would even come to argue with you, saying the Quran is nothing but an ancient fables. In the first set of verses that we covered yesterday and before, we said these are verses confirming the truth that's coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the forms of the ayat, in the form of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we talked yesterday about those who reject these and what they end up saying on the Day of Judgment, denying their disbelief, denying the fact that they rejected that. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes us back to kind of the current situation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing for us what these people who rejected have been treating, how have they been treating this message that came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us an example of those. It says, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَسْتَمِعُونَ إِلَيْكَ. There is a group amongst them that come and listen to you when you recite the Quran. As a matter of fact, there are multiple narrations about this fact that the kuffar of Quraysh, the disbelievers of Quraysh, used to go, whether outwardly or secretly, to listen to the Quran. There are some narrations that even said Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, the first time he listened to that, he was a very staunch rejecter, enemy of Islam initially. And he said in one of these times where he kind of was sneaking at night, and when Rasulullah was praying at the Kaaba, and he was sat down there and he was listening, and I believe he was reciting Surah Al-Haqqa, and this is the first time that kind of something impacted his heart, because he was actually listening. They also say that there's another narration where there are three of the big, Abu Jahl is one of them, if I'm not mistaken, Walid ibn al-Mughira, and a third one, they said, they go at night, where Rasulullah is reciting at his home, and they'll go and sit down and listen to the recitation of the Prophet. They used to, again, they like it. It's good. It's something beautiful that they are. Okay, they want to listen to it. When they were done, it was at night. So when they were done, they were leaving at night, and then on the way back, they bump into each other. Said, what are you doing here? And they said, what are you doing here? So three of them talking to each other. And they look at each other and they know exactly what they were doing. So they don't do that again. That's the last time, right? We don't want people to come and see us. If we're coming, we're the leaders of Quraysh. We're the ones who are coming and listening to the Quran. It's going to be a problem. What happens next day? All three of them come back. They sit down and listen. On the way back, they bump into each other. It's like, didn't we talk about this yesterday? Right? They're having this discussion amongst themselves. But this is exactly what they used to do, subhanAllah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tells us in this verse, and there's a reason, again, part of the narrations that came, that Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu narrated, that they said that there's a huge number or a big number of the people of Quraysh. They went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's like, they were listening to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam recite. And after they left, amongst them, by the way, was Abu Jahl. Amongst them was Abu Sufyan radiallahu anhu, became Sahabi afterwards. Amongst them is Nadr ibn al-Harith. Amongst them is, what do you call it? These are the major leaders of Quraysh. And they went there and they were listening to the Quran. Keep in mind, we always talk about this. So the miracle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the Quran itself. Because its language, it's something they are the masters of the language, meaning the Arabs of the time are the masters of the language. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them something that they said, you are the professionals, you are the masters, then how about you bring a book like it? Just a book like this one. They couldn't. They said, okay, no problem. Let's go, 10 surahs. They couldn't. So how about just one surah? They couldn't. So they are the masters of the language, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him a miracle that says, if you say this is not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is just the word of man, of a human being, Muhammad, then bring something like it. They could not. So in this situation, these leaders of Quraysh, they go to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they listen to the Quran. On the way back, they're talking to each other, and then they ask one of them, another ibn al-Harith, he said, what was that? And he says, oh, by the one who made this, Bayt al-Haram, he's talking about the Kaaba. He said, by the Kaaba, I have no idea what he's talking about. They're not really saying he understands the Arabic. He's trying to belittle what he has heard. And then he told them, he said, this is not like except like the fables I used to recite for you. Because Nadr ibn Harith was known to be one who used to travel extensively, and they would come back with stories from Persia, from Rome, from the Byzantine Empire. So he used to give them these kind of stories. He said, this is exactly the same as the stories I used to give you. The narration said that Abu Sufyan radiallahu anhu said, I believe it's the truth. That was back then. And then they say, Abu Jahl responded to him and said, stop, don't say that. Kalla, don't say that. And subhanAllah, the scholars say, subhanAllah, as if this is the thing, because later he becomes a Muslim. Says his ability to listen and discern that this is the truth, and not to reject because of arrogance, as if subhanAllah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved him at the end because of this. Because what did the verse say? It says, مِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَسْتَمِعُ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَسْتَمِعُ إِلَيْكَ. There are amongst them those who come and listen to you. We always say there's a difference between just hearing, listening, and active listening, which is the fact of the matter that you're listening because you want to understand. Sometimes you hear something and you know you're not comprehending it. You're hearing it from this ear and they're coming out from the other ear. So when you are going there with the intention of not listening, you're going there with the intention just to kind of reject. You just want to make a point, right? I went there and I talked to him, but he is not the true prophet. Then they're not really listening. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَسْتَمِعُ إِلَيْكَ وَجَعَلْنَا عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ أَكِنَّةً أَن يَفْقَهُوهُ وَفِي آذَانِهِمْ وَقْرًا. As the translation said, but we have cast veils over their hearts, leaving them unable to comprehend it, and deafness in their ears. So al-akinna are these covers. Akinna are covers. So as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that they put covers over their heart for them to comprehend it. So the comprehension is not going into their heart. And this is a metaphor, right? Not a real, an actual cover, but it's a metaphorical cover. The same exact thing. وَفِي آذَانِهِمْ وَقْرًا. Waqra is that, like kind of a strong deafness. They're not hearing what they're listening. This is metaphorically as well. It's not that they're not able to hear. It's the fact that they are hearing, but as if they are deaf, they're not hearing what they are. And whatever they're hearing, they're not listening, they're not comprehending. The scholars also talk about this extensively, because some people might misunderstand that. To think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala initially puts this veil, meaning that they are from the beginning rejecting. No, ذَلِكَ بِمَا قَدَّمَتْ أَيْدِيكُمْ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَيْسَ بِظَلَّامٍ لِلْعَبِيدِ. This is but the impact, this is the consequence of the rejection. So I want you to understand this carefully. It's not that from the beginning they did not have the ability to comprehend or they had veils on their hearts. Nope. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends this message to everyone. Everyone has the ability to hear, listen, comprehend. Everyone, this is the guidance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends the guidance to them in the form of the Prophet, in the form of the ayat. They are the masters of the language, they understand it. Now, how do you react to that? That's on you and I. When we hear the guidance, how do we react? If we're reacting in a form that is not of arrogance, that of acceptance, that of a comprehension, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yazidna huda, increases our huda, gives us more, increases us more in the iman, inshaAllah. But if you continue on rejecting, you continue on in this arrogance, as the verse says. They're saying, well, no, we understand, this is nothing. What is he talking about? He said, that's Tafseer al-Awwaleen. I have no idea what is he talking about. What is he saying? I have no idea what is he saying. You're an Arab. You understand this language really well. Yes, but I don't understand. Rejection. So it's based on this rejection, that's where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, if you reject and you continue on in this arrogance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala covers their hearts. So this is, I also always say, it's a message for you and I. It's not a message for them. They already passed. It's for you and I. So let's not, when we see guidance coming, when we see truth coming, let's not reject it for whatever reason. Because you don't know, the continuous rejection of the truth, of what's right, might lead to having this cover or veil over your heart. That becomes much, much harder to accept what's true and what's right afterwards. So we have to be comprehensive. We have to be thinking about our own selves. And how do we accept the guidance? How do we hear the teachings? How do we implement it in our lives? Because we might be falling into this trap afterwards of this continuous rejection that lead us to having this veil. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may protect us all. So, وَإِن يَرَوْا كُلَّ آيَةٍ لَا يُؤْمِنُوا بِهَا. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that then based on this, because they have this veil, they have this deafness, then no matter how many verses, how many signs that we show them, وَإِن يَرَوْا كُلَّ آيَةٍ, any kind of, and all types of signs, they would reject it and they would not believe it. حتى إذا جاءوك يجادلونك يقول الذين كفروا إن هذا إلا أساطير الأولين. To the extent, if they were to come, and when they come to you, حتى إذا جاءوك يجادلونك. When they come to you, they want to argue with you. So the word used is yujadil. They did not come to accept the guidance, as we said, or to hear from you. It said حتى إذا جاءوك يجادلونك, for the reason of them arguing with you. They want to come to prove to their people, right, the rest of the Qurayshis, they said, we are the leaders, we're going and we're giving him a fair chance. We're listening to him, as you can see. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us their true intention. Their true intention was not there to go and listen. Their true intention was to go there and argue. حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءُوكَ يُجَادِلُونَكَ. They're trying to argue with you. They end up with saying what? يَقُولُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. They leave from there and they say, no, we listen to him. This is nothing but أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ are the ancient fables, are the stories of the past. Right? That can be true or not, but true, doesn't matter. But it's just ancient past. So this is not nothing but something as such. So you say this whole verse is talking about the attitude towards the guidance. That you're coming with an open heart to accept, or you're coming with a deaf ear from the beginning to accept. You don't want to even accept. You're coming to argue. You're not coming to seek the truth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this whole verse talks about different aspects of this that led, because of their rejection, of their kibr, of their arrogance, to the veil on their heart, the deafness in their ear, as if they would not listen, they would not hear, they would not understand, to the extent that no sign would come to them except they were rejected. And not only that, but they're coming with the intention of arguing, not listening and understanding and learning. And they will go with the perceived notion. They already came in with this and they lived with the perceived notion that this is what? Nothing but ancient fables. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the guidance. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who hear His words and understand it and comprehend it and have an open heart to internalize it and make it act upon it in our lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who have true belief in their hearts and die on this belief in their hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this belief in our hearts steadfast, that we live with it to our entire life, and that we look and we see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all our actions, and we seek His guidance in all our actions. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gather us as this gathering, beautiful gathering with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the highest level of Jannah. وَقُولُوا قَوْلِي هَذَا وَأَسْتَغْفِرُ اللَّهَ لَكُمْ